We already know who the first college football playoff team is going to be. It will be the Clemson Tigers. Their toughest two games on the schedule are not in their conference in the ACC. They are going to be hosting LSU. This is going to be a Saturday night incredible game. Chris Fowler, Kirk Herbstreit on the call for that. And then at the end of the season, they are at South Carolina. They have a legitimate shot at just coasting all the way to either a 10-2, 11-1 record. Depends on, let's just say they split South Carolina and LSU, find themselves at 10-2, 11-1, and into the ACC championship game. The question is, who would they be playing in the ACC championship game? That will ultimately determine whether or not they will be receiving, in all likelihood, a first-round bye into the college football playoff. We know it's going to be the top 4 ranked teams in the country this year, not the 4 highest conference champions, the 4 highest ranked teams in college football. And with that schedule, we can see Clemson's going to be winning a ton of games. The minimum that they're going to be winning next year is going to be 9. And even if they win 9, in all likelihood, they're going to be playing in that ACC championship game with a record of 9-3, most likely, like I said, 10-2 or 11-1. But I know what Clemson's season is going to wind up against. When we compare what Clemson is doing to teams in the SEC, like Texas, Georgia, Alabama, and what their schedule is, and then what Clemson is simply facing, Clemson is looking at either a first round or a quarterfinal exit, and I would say that with utmost of my chest and confidence, just because of the fact that they're not playing a ton of quality opponents. I know Florida State's going to be a little bit better this year, but we look at a road game at North Carolina, hosting Syracuse, at Georgia Tech, a good team, at Louisville. I just don't see tests except for week 1 and for their last game of the season at South Carolina. No doubt going to be very tough games against LSU and South Carolina, but you just want to look at a South Carolina schedule. For example, South Carolina is going to be at LSU, not hosting them, playing Oklahoma, hosting Alabama, at Ole Miss, at Texas A&M, and then, of course, like we've been talking about, a Clemson matchup. Those are 3 tougher games immediately on that schedule that will have them battle-tested. The tough thing for South Carolina is, how are they going to make the college football playoff when you have teams like Tennessee, LSU, Ole Miss, that you are going to be up against, not to mention the juggernauts of Texas, Alabama, and Georgia, who will be right there in the top 3, the real competitors to win this SEC. Though Clemson, they are veteran. Cade Klubnik is back, likely the best quarterback in college football next year. TJ Parker, Peter Woods, the best defensive line in the country, most likely. They've got those veteran players on the offense, and fully just looking at what their roster is. I mean, it is simply just laden with guys that were playing on that team last year when they gave Texas all that they could. A way more talented Texas team than they were, and they were fighting there to the very end in the first round of the college football playoff. On the road at Texas, it's just the fact that when you're not matched up against those tougher teams, once you face that level of competition in the first round or the second round, I just don't see them advancing to the semifinals and finding a way to get there. Their only shot is they have to, without a doubt, win the ACC, and they need to get a first round bye, so they're not playing in the first round. If they're playing in the first round, no shot they make it to the semifinals. Their only shot at making it to the semifinals is going to be if they get that first round bye. And thankfully for them, and the way that the committee seeds these teams, likely they're going to see a nice record, something like 10-2 and 11-1. Looking at a Clemson with a 10-2 record compared to a Georgia 9-3, a Bama 9-3. Oh yeah, the Clemson won their conference, so they're just going to slot him in for a first round bye in the college football playoff. When Georgia and Alabama are just going to be so battle tested, I would rather probably take one of those teams up against Clemson in a college football playoff. This matchup, I mean, I'm looking right here specifically just at these wide receivers and Williams and Bryant Wesco, TJ Moore. They are stacked on that side. Are they going to be able to effectively come out and run the football, take some of the pressure off of Cade Klubnik next season? And then comparatively also, we're not going to talk about the Big 12, and mainly the Big 10 and what they're going to have. You could pencil it in right now that the Big 10 is going to get 2 teams into the quarterfinals right off the bat. They're going to have 2 teams in the top 4. It's going to be some combination of Oregon, Ohio State, Oregon, Penn State, Ohio State, Penn State. Well, two of those 3 teams are going to be in the top 4. Likely it's not going to be all of them just because some of them play each other. Oregon plays Penn State. Penn State plays Ohio State and Oregon, and other teams in that conference don't really see them making it into that range, but likely it's going to be 2 of those teams making the Big 10 championship game, which is going to be one of probably the least exciting Big 10 championship games in recent memory because, frankly, we're likely going to know who already is going to have the first-round byes, and likely both of those teams are going to have first-round byes. It's not like last year where the winner of that game we know will get the first-round bye in the college football playoff. But again, even last year, it was the fact that you almost wanted to lose that game and be looking at 2 easier opponents than what happened to Oregon having to host Ohio State when Penn State was looking at a home game against SMU, and then Boise State, and then Notre Dame, where they saw actual, true, very tough competition. Look, I understand that Clemson is a talented roster and that they play who they have to play. Completely get that. But the talk, all of the talk, the expectation for Clemson is to be a national championship level team. I get it. I understand it. And frankly, this is the year to be able to do it before expansion happens, before Cade Klubnik goes to the NFL, which is going to be happening after this season. Almost guaranteed likelihood that we'll see him be a top 5 pick in that draft when it's all said and done, just because of his ability throwing the football. Tremendous, and just how good he played throughout last season. One of the top 3 players in the country in the Heisman odds. So I get it, but this is going to have to be Clemson winning that conference. If they don't get the first round bye, again, like I said, just do not see a path. The only way that would happen is if Clemson is going to, again, have one of those seeds between 5 and 8 and be hosting a team in the first round. Playing at Clemson at night, very tough to do. So if they could get a game on that Friday or Saturday night in the first round of the college football playoff, and then in that second round, if they were slotted up somehow against a Big 12 team, most likely it's going to be one of those higher seeds that they would be playing, a Penn State, an Oregon, a Texas, a Georgia, and Alabama right off the gate in that next round of the college football playoff in that quarterfinal. So that's exactly why I don't see them advancing far enough beyond the quarterfinal round. So thank you again so much for watching this video. Hope you subscribe for more content coming out in the future. But we know Clemson will be in the college football playoff. You can basically lock it in now just because of the criteria, and getting there is so much easier within the conference. But thank you so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe, and I will see you next time. Thank you.